If the transition to using Rust-based core utilities in Ubuntu wasn't controversial enough for you, Canonical, the company behind Ubuntu, is taking a move right out of Microsoft's playbook by making the OS agentic. That's right, Ubuntu is going to start shipping with AI built right into it. The official version of this comes from Canonical's VP of Engineering and Enterprise Solutions, who posted Canonical's roadmap for AI in Ubuntu on April 27, 2026. The headline is that AI features will be landing in Ubuntu throughout the next year. Canonical wants to favor local inference by default, and they're saying that Ubuntu is not becoming an AI product, which is exactly the kind of sentence companies say right before the AI product starts showing up in the operating system. Now, they're dividing the update into two categories: implicit and explicit AI. Implicit AI means existing OS features quietly get upgraded by models that are running in the background, while explicit AI means the more obvious AI native stuff like agents, automation, document generation, troubleshooting workflows, and personal automation tasks that you can intentionally interact with. Now, some of these updates actually sound really good for accessibility. The post specifically points to first-class speech-to-text and text-to-speech as an example, where local models could dramatically improve Ubuntu for people who really need those features in order to interact with a computer. This is tangentially related, but I recently learned about how blind and visually impaired people are using the Meta glasses to describe things to them in basically real time. Like, they can read signs, they can ask what color something is, etc. And it's actually really good. And the fact that it's built into sunglasses, which is an accessory that a lot of those folks are rocking already, really makes it that much more convenient. Like, you don't need to hold out your phone or some other kind of special device in order to take a picture. You just look at what you would, be able to see if you weren't visually impaired, and then boom, it's a natural operation. So yeah, there's obviously benefits to be had with AI for people that need the accessibility features, especially if it's powered by local models. Better screen readers, better dictation, better voice control, and fewer disabled users getting treated like an afterthought when it comes to Linux could turn the OS and the Linux ecosystem as a whole into one that this often forgotten group of people can actually use, and it can save them from having to choose a big tech product that's going to financially exploit them in the long run. And it's a great opportunity when you think of the workflows that a lot of these people are using. Like, they're probably not using Photoshop, they're probably not using video editors or doing AAA gaming, so those apps that people have the most trouble with Linux on don't even really apply here. So I think that specifically this is going to be one of the more genuinely good use cases for AI in an operating system. Now, the technical backbone for a lot of this appears to be Canonical's inference snaps, which are snap packages that ship local AI models and automatically picked optimized runtimes, quantization, and hardware acceleration based on the specs of your machine. Canonical has already published or documented inference snaps for models like DeepSeek R1, Gemma 3, Nematron 3 Nano, and Qwen VL, with optimizations for CPUs, NVIDIA CUDA, Intel GPUs and MPUs, and Ampere ARM CPUs, depending on the model. This also lines up with the 11th LTS version of Ubuntu, codenamed Resolute Raccoon, which is available for download right now. This LTS version also comes with live patch updates for ARM-based servers, so you can patch critical kernel vulnerabilities without having to reboot your machine. Now let's talk about the more controversial update, which is the agentic workflows. This is one of the things that a lot of people are fleeing from Windows to avoid because Microsoft has been shoehorning AI into Windows 11 pretty much since the hype began. Some of the ideas for these workflows outlined in the post include authoring new documents or applications, automating troubleshooting workflows, and personal automation tasks such as targeted daily news briefings. There's also plans for LLM workflows that would be used for Ubuntu servers for interpreting logs during an incident or performing a series of scheduled maintenance tasks across multiple Ubuntu servers. The post goes on to say that for site reliability engineers, delegating these tasks to an AI agent does not necessarily introduce new risk if they're deployed in a properly secured production environment. The aim is for Ubuntu to expose the primitives needed for agents to operate without existing boundaries, whether that be read-only analysis, tightly scoped permissions for any actions, and full auditability for decisions and outcomes. In that sense, the challenge is less about trust in the agents and more about building trust in the same guardrails that already apply to any production system. Imagine being able to ask your Linux machine to troubleshoot a Wi-Fi connection issue or to stand up an open source software forge that's pre-configured and reachable over TLS. One could easily imagine using such a capability as a gateway for controlling your Linux machine from other devices through a variety of mediums, be that a mobile app, text messaging, voice commands, or otherwise. So obviously the people who want these features are going to be excited to have them. They're going to be probably happy adopters of the tech. And the local inference models are designed to give users more privacy versus the cloud-based solution. But on the flip side, the local inference models are less capable than the cloud-based ones because the online AI services are running data centers full of graphics cards that are optimized for large language models. There's a huge gap between the compute power of data centers and the graphics card that's in your PC, assuming that you can even get one right now that's capable of running these models. And that gap is probably going to start to close as models and consumer hardware get better, but for the meantime, there's obviously a huge ravine between their capabilities. But the more important question is how optional will the use of this stuff really be? In the post, they say that AI native features will be there for those who want it, but that doesn't really tell us if the features are going to be opt-in, if it's going to be something that you have to opt out of if you don't want to use it, or even if there will be an easy way to turn them off. You know, are these features going to stay off once you turn them off, or are they going to magically re-enable themselves every time you update your system? Is it going to be something that you have to drill down into the source code to disable? Like, the OS is open source, so there should always be some kind of option to rip this stuff out if you really want it gone, but that shouldn't require manually patching your system. If someone was comfortable enough to do that, they probably wouldn't even be using Ubuntu in the first place. The people that really enjoy Linux system administration or just tinkering with their machines as a hobby are going to be running Arch or Gentoo. I think if most of the focus goes into accessibility, that's going to be a good thing. Like, it's going to make it easier for someone who can't see or has other impairments to use a computer. I think that's the most wholesome and legitimate use case for AI that I've heard of, especially, again, if it's being kept locally and it doesn't require these people to use Mac OS or Windows because they're the only ones that are really focusing on those features right now, or that the third-party tools that give people accessibility for their systems have support for. Personally, I don't have much trust in Canonical to preserve Ubuntu and the Linux desktop experience that we've come to love, but tell me what you guys think. Will the future of AI updates in Ubuntu be wholesome, or are they going to turn it into the sloppiest distro ever? If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it to hack the algorithm, and check out my online store, based.win, where you can buy my awesome merch and accessories for your phone or laptop. 10% store-wide discount when you pay with Monero XMR at checkout. Have a great rest of your day.